All right. So, welcome to the Facebook Live on the topic of nice guy pattern in romantic relationship. Now, this is an extremely vast topic that can deserve hours of videos, and I'm going to do more of these videos on the romantic relationship. So, this will be somewhat an intro to this. So, basically, all of you guys probably already know how the nice guy pattern works, right? There is this pattern of avoiding emotional tension whenever possible. When I'm about to give to someone a compliment, it feels like I'm exposing myself a lot. I don't know how the other person will receive that, so I'd rather not do that. If I'm about to say no to someone, I'll rather not do that because what if the other person feels rejected? Then I'm going to be the one responsible for that. I'm going to feel guilty. I'm going to feel ashamed. I don't want to face that. I'd rather be nice and find a nice way to say about that. If there's something I want someone to do, right? Let's say I'm a boss or a manager and I want my people to do something for me, I will be talking and communicating this in a very nice and polite way. Do you think it would be okay if you did this for me? Do you think it would be okay if you could do this until 6 p.m. and there's this massive flood of words that really says nothing, which only purpose is to soften the request, right? Is to soften the directive. Now, there is many things like this. Because of this, because of avoiding emotional tension, guys never really lead women on dates, and they don't lead women when they're approaching them, whether it's on Tinder or it's in the real life. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to look at her, and they're trying to figure out with their heads the best way to approach her so that they get what they want, which means her affection and her that she likes them, but at the same time she gets what she wants. And the focus on that she gets what she wants is so intense that it completely disconnects them from their heart, from their body, and they get stuck in the logical, analytical analysis of what is the best thing to do, what is the right thing to say, until they become so afraid that it's not going to be the right thing, that they're not going to do anything at all, or that they're going to come and say something really weird, or they're going to Google some kind of um, pickup techniques and that they say to them, and it's going to be awkward and it's going to feel inauthentic. And they can push themselves and do it really hard and really strongly, but then the state palm eventually fades away, and their real self, their real authentic self, I mean, not real authentic self, their wounded self that wants to avoid tension will eventually shine through, and they're going to be again in this nice guy, very careful energy. Now, as you already know, all this is driven by the trauma and rejection and abandonment experiences as a child, where the child didn't receive the treatment that it should have received. Because of this, it internalized the belief, I'm not okay the way I am. I don't know what's happening. Imagine that you're 5 or you're 4, and you are moving around in extreme fear, in extreme being misunderstood, being unheard, being unfelt, feeling unsafe, and you try to communicate somehow the best to your ability when you're 4, that you need to be held, you need to feel safe to the ones who are taking care of you. Nothing happens. So what belief do you internalize? I guess it's because of me. I guess it's because of I'm not okay the way I am. There must be something wrong with me. So consequently, you're going to make the next step. So if there is something wrong with me, then I want to survive in this world. So I must become what other people want me to become so that I'm safe. And this is also the only way how I can get love, how I will feel love, if I become what they want me to become. So what I'm going to make a decision, that the next one is that I'm going to focus really strongly on what it is that they want, what it is that they need, so I can give it to them, so I can feel safe. And if you learn this during the first 7 years of your life, and then probably if you learn this, you learned it somewhere in the environment where you grow up, and you probably don't leave this environment until you're at least 16, you're going to be continuously fueling this pattern more and more and more and more, and you internalize it so deep that you start feeling it that it's normal, right? Just like when a person who smokes cigarettes has been smoking for 25 years, for him it's like it's normal. Like I go out and I have a cigarette. Like, what's the big deal about that? This is the same thing. It's just that the cigarette smoker at least knows that there are other people who aren't like that. What nice guy does, nice guy projects his internal belief system and his internal belief structure and experiences on all the other people. So he's not going to be living in the world where this experience is unique to me. He's going to believe that this is how the world is, right? This is how the world operates. So if I'm nice to everyone because I'm giving everyone to what they want, that's how I get my needs met. That's how I get what I deserve. So he believes that if he believes that this is how the world works, he also must believe that other people should behave the same way, right? So if he meets other people's needs, then he expects that his needs will be met. And he believes that if other people want something from him, they should give him first what they want. So what's going to happen is that when someone comes to him and he says directly what they want from him, he directly asks for something, he directly says no, this person is going to be like, what a aggressive, arrogant motherfucker this person is. Because for him, this is not how the world works. This person just completely broke the rules of the world. If you want something, you have to be nice first. You have to ask, you have to give it to other people what they need before you can actually ask for what you want, for what you need. And this is going to create a lot of anger. This is going to create a lot of feeling of guilt when I receive something without giving anything in return, feeling of shame. And the thing is, it's not really that it creates these things. It just brings these experiences from the past to the surface. Because all this guilt has already been there. It's just that it's been triggered, so now it can be processed. The shame is the same thing. The anger is the same thing. The tragedy of the nice guy is that he never really allows himself to feel the anger, because that's not nice, right? How do you meet someone's needs? By being angry, by somehow sharing your anger, or even feeling your anger. If you're feeling, if a person running the nice guy patterns, or a nice guy pattern, feels the anger and feels a rage or feels a hatred, which are all emotions that people are experiencing as a result of past trauma. If he somehow feels these emotions, for him, that's a direct proof of his primary belief, which is, I'm not okay the way I am. How is it possible that I'm feeling these feelings? How can I feel so much anger? That must mean that there is something wrong with me, that I am not okay the way I am. And this fear is going to suppress all these emotions, the shame, the anger, the guilt, even deeper. And he's going to try harder with his head to figure out what's the best way to give to people so that he can receive. It's like a internal system that self-sustains. And if you want to break it, the first thing that must happen is to really understand it, is to really know what's happening and know that no, there's nothing wrong with you, even though you try really, really hard to, or even if you've been thinking that for years, even if whatever anyone told you, there's nothing wrong with you. If you have those experiences, it's just a result of past trauma. It's just a result of the patterns that are running on autopilot in your head, and you can deal with these things. You can let them go. Now, this is the basics in the nice guy pattern. The nice guy pattern in a romantic relationships show in a very specific way. The thing is, you can hide the, how do I say this? Nice guys can create an illusion that they are very confident, very loving, very powerful men. By being so confident in these concepts and by being so convinced about being in this giving mode from their heads, that it appears as if they have all their shit together, as if they have everything that they've ever wanted, as if they are running their lives, almost like they're living their dream life. And then when they share with someone that they are having these emotions, these dark emotions, or when their life collapses, or when they get angry, everyone is like, oh my God, you're such a nice guy. How is it possible? Like I would have never seen that coming. And it's equally surprised for a nice guy. Now, you can maintain this illusion in front of other people without exploding if you have a time to separate from themselves, right? So nice guys can work in their business and in their careers, and they can create this nice guy illusion that feels very real for the other people, but the other people never get to see the other side of them, like the exposed, the dark side, like the dark, the lonely, the ashamed, the guilty part of themselves, because they deal with this on their own when they're at home, or through pornography, or through alcohol, or through prostitution, through all sorts of escape mechanisms to deal with all this pain and tension that they are experiencing in the outside world. It's the same with dating. Nice guys can find a nice way to approach women, can be good in texting on Tinder and being on dates, having a good time, because they're not exposed to those people so long enough to be unable to escape from the other side, right? So when you find yourself being in a romantic relationship, you can still maintain the illusion for the other person, but once you are in a romantic relationship for long enough, and you start spending with the other person days or maybe weeks or maybe you move together, there is no way to run away from that. There is no way to really escape, to really let the other person see how you are, what's going on inside you, and maybe some of the confusion starts to come to the surface on the man's side, which makes the woman confused, which makes them eventually fight and struggle. Now, in a romantic relationship, I believe that there are several purposes of actually having a romantic relationship, and finding happiness is not one of them. Finding happiness, if you are in a romantic relationship in order to be happy, because that's what's going to bring you happiness, you're fucked already. So what I believe is the purpose of a romantic relationship. First one is to make you grow. Well, actually, no. The first one is to make you feel energized and to make you express yourself and to feel fulfilled. If you're a man, you have a pair of testicles and you're producing testosterone. So that means that you are biologically and instinctually wired, that some behaviors and some actions will make you feel nice. For instance, accepting a challenge. Every man feels good when he accepts the challenge and he accomplishes the challenge. I'm saying every man is wired for this. Every man has this in instincts because he has testosterone as a dominant sex hormone in his body. Now, this doesn't mean that all men are like that. Some men aren't like that because they have been they went through trauma and they have defense mechanisms that are preventing them to feel this, from feeling this. This is the first thing. And the second thing, they are conditioned by society to believe that it's otherwise. They believe it's so deep that their body is not aligned with their instincts, and they don't feel the calling for the challenge as much. They don't feel the satisfaction from this so much. But once, and I've seen this over and over again in workshops, I've seen this in my programs, guys come in the environment when there are men only, when we talk about these things, and suddenly these things start to wake up. So this is for men. And men who is masculine, who is connected with his instincts, shows a specific behaviors in a romantic relationship. And one of these behaviors is leadership. It's energetic leadership, where he is the person who decides about things, who communicates what the outcome will be, and who leads his woman to outcomes. Now, on the other side of this is the feminine. And the feminine also, because of the dominant hormones, estrogen and progesterone, she also has a biological and psychological wiring based on the past, based on the evolution and the biological evolution, that make her prone to feel good when practicing certain behaviors. And for the feminine, the behaviors is more about feeling and is more about expression, right? Women feel more, and women find more delight in talking about feeling and expressing their feelings. It's very fulfilling. For her, it might be challenging to feel as good as men when it comes to reaching a challenge. And the other way, for a man, it can be challenging to feel as fulfilled as the woman can be. I mean, challenging if possible in expression and in sharing the feelings. So if you have a romantic relationship, I believe the first purpose of the romantic relationship is that both sides are connected with what is true for them, what feels natural for them, what feels instinctual for them, and from this place, operate in the relationship and experience the satisfaction on the deep, instinctual, almost archetypal level for both. This feels nice, this is energizing, there's no effort, and it feels like when you are in the relationship like this, it's better than being single. This is the most important thing, because many people are in the romantic relationship out of obligation, or because they're afraid that if they wouldn't be in this relationship, they don't want to be single. They would be single for the rest of their life. So when you're in the relationship like this, it feels nice and you're energized. And it's coming from the inside because you're aligned with your masculine instincts and your masculine communication, and you lead your woman to be aligned with her feminine instincts and with her feminine communication. And this is the place where 1 + 1 = 3, the synergy between the two. This is the first thing. The second thing is, I believe it's extremely rare that there are two people who were both raised in a family where these kids, the guy and the girl, were able to model this from their parents. And because of this, they both are to some degree disconnected from their instincts, right? So man is showing some of the feminine communication and feminine energetic behaviors, and woman is more masculinized. And this is when we come to the nice guy pattern. Tension. Nice guy pattern's core symptom and core of all his behaviors is avoiding emotional tension. When nice guy is about to approach a girl and say, hey, I saw you from behind there, and I just came here to tell you that I think you're beautiful. For him to make this pause after the approach and compliment is nuts. His heart starts racing and his mind starts spinning, and it almost feels like compulsively you have to say something. If you don't say anything, you're gonna die. Like the level of embarrassment and the potential rejection is gonna be off the charts. Now, at the same time, the problem here is that, and this is something you should remember for the rest of your life, the person who can handle more tension always leads the conversation and always leads the outcome of the conversation. If you have a man and a woman, the person who handles more tension will decide about the outcome. Maybe an easier example, if you have a sales conversation between two people, conditions of the transactions will be decided by the person who handles more tension. If you have a leadership situation, the leader will either lead or not lead based on whether he can handle more tension than the people that are following him, right? So if I give my hand to a woman and I don't handle the tension of waiting until she makes a decision, I take the hand back and I'm not leading anymore. And then I wait for her reaction so that I adapt. And now she makes a reaction and I adapt to that, which makes her lead. So nice guy is unable, because of this pattern of avoiding emotional tension, he's unable to lead. And this is happening on the energetical level. So even if you know what are the verbal practices and how you should speak and what you should say, which is the example of pickup when we go back into dating, it doesn't matter that they know what's the right thing to say, how to say it, how to use gestures and all this stuff, because they don't have the ability to handle tension, which is extremely necessary in order for the man to lead and for the woman to feel his leadership. So in the romantic relationship, what it looks like is that there will be situations where women will tell a man what to do. And for any man, when woman tells him what to do, it doesn't feel good, right? It feels emasculating. It feels like you're talking with your mother. Your mom can tell you what to do, right? And even if she does that, you still don't like that, right? When you take some action and you take action with the best intention in your mind, and your woman judges you, she says that she didn't like it because blah, 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 and why didn't you do it this way? Why didn't you do it this way? You should have done this way. It feels like shit because she's judging your action. And that is not coming from the feminine expression and doesn't feel nice. And there's many other examples like this: criticism, blame, accusations. But the problem with nice guy is that, first of all, he's unable to recognize this because in the most cases, he never ever heard about it. And the second thing is he doesn't have the ability to deal with his own emotions and to handle the emotional tension of reversing this. Because in order to reverse this, he has to communicate that he doesn't like this. He has to communicate that it doesn't feel good for him and he doesn't want her to communicate this way. And he must be able to explain why so that she understands it. And then there must be consent that she will not be exercising behaviors that are damaging to him, and he's not going to exercise behaviors that are not going to be damaging to her. And that's a whole other topic. But when he does this, then he can lead her to feminine communication, which is going to make her feel even better, right? Because if she's using masculine communication, the only reason why she's doing that is because she went through an equivalent of what nice guy went in terms of trauma, right? And he's going to be helping her to deal with her trauma by leading her into the feminine communication. So the first thing that, if a nice guy wants to deal with this dynamic in the romantic relationship, the first thing he has to learn is, well, understanding how the nice guy pattern works and what are the behaviors that he shows up, because without that, he's not going to know even what's the problem. And the second thing is to be able to handle and enjoy emotional tension. Because if he can handle that, it means that he's not going to get triggered when he gets criticized, and instead he's going to be leading. Because if he gets triggered and he reacts to what she says, now she's leading, and she hates leading. She doesn't want to lead, but it's like she doesn't have a choice, right? Because of how she reacts to his behavior. And if he wants to stay in charge, and he wants to stay in his leadership, he has to be able to stay grounded. He has to be able to handle his emotions, to handle the emotional tension, know what's happening. That's step one. And then lead her to a better outcome. Lead her to better expressing what she feels. And actually, and this is the first step, knowing what is the feeling that she feels underneath what she communicates. Because when you know what is the feeling that she feels underneath what she communicates, it's going to be a delight for you to change your behavior. It's going to be a delight for you to give her what you want, because you're not a heartless monster. You are a compassionate and empathetic man who has this in your instincts. We are wired to react to women being vulnerable and to women feeling something and showing it to us. So when you understand how the polarized relationship works, how the man being in his masculine and woman being in her feminine, how this dynamic operates, and what needs to happen in order for you to feel that, and what to do in order to lead her to that, then you can do that once you handle your emotional tension, and you can both be better off. Now, this is not something that you can learn by reading a book. It's not something that like you read about it and you know, and you just know how to do that. This is really a process of repatterning, where you discover what the patterns are in your communication and in your energy, in your emotions that you're doing. And once you know what these are, then you learn what the alternatives to this are. And then you practice over and over and over again until you're able to actually put this into practice and feel that, right? So that it doesn't become a technique, because there's not many annoying things when you communicate something that's not aligned with how you feel and that's not authentic. Okay, so when you do this, your relationship will start to change gradually. You will be, instead of getting triggered and running away from that, and getting triggered and rationalizing it, and getting triggered and withdrawing, and then turning the relationship into a passionless roommate style relationship, you're going to be reclaiming your balls little by little, day after day, 1% every day, to the point that you will be leading all communication, and she will be expressing herself all the time. For you, it's going to feel like you're dominant, like you're, and it's not non-consensual dominance, it's consensual dominance, because she's going to love that. She's going to love your leadership. And because of that, she's going to be more and more expressive. She's going to be less and less afraid to express what she feels, because she has trust that you can handle that. And she's going to continually increase the trust that she can handle it, and she will have trust in you. Now, this is all emotional work. So when this is going to be happening, at the same time, both of you will have to face your stuff from the past, because all these emotions that you will be feeling on the journey are stuff that has accumulated in your body over the course of your lifetime. And when you get triggered, it's not the person's responsibility, right? It's like they have nothing to do with you feeling like shit after them saying something mean. It's because you have something inside you that needs to be healed, that needs to be looked at. So healing of the nice guy pattern in a romantic relationship is hard work, but it's extremely rewarding work. And the most interesting thing is that you cannot really avoid it, because if you don't do that and you're going to have kids, the kid's going to be confused because the kid's not going to understand it, and the kid's going to pick up feminine energy from masculine body, which is the father, and masculine energy from feminine body, which is woman who leads, who controls, who criticizes, who blames, who judges. And then it's going to be like, so what is my role here? How should I show up? If you are running the nice guy pattern, it's very likely that you picked up these dynamics in your family the same way. So if you don't deal with that, your kids will have to deal with that. Somewhere I've read, the best gift you can give to your kids is your own self-development, and not really your self-development, your own happiness, because you can't teach kids anything, because kids will model everything. Kids learn with osmosis. So that's it for today. Nice guy pattern in romantic relationship, but it's not everything I have for you. If you want to work on this, if you want to discover where the nice guy pattern is running your romantic relationship and governing your life, and you want to get rid of that and resolve this, and not only in your romantic relationship, but in all the areas of your life, then go to buymehours.com/book now and book the session with me for free, where we will do a deep diagnosis of where you're at and what can be done in order to move you from the nice guy pattern to natural masculine confidence. Okay? What I notice when I work with guys is that no matter if they work on their dating or their relationship or their business, they always improve all areas of their life, because this is deep work. This is energetic. This is coming from the emotions. If you're triggered into anger on many places, you work with anger, you're resolving the anger problem on all those places, right? And the purpose of this work is not to really kind of temporarily solve some problem for a short period of time, like a band-aid, but to actually give you the tools that you can do this on your own, for yourself, for the rest of your life, and then you can model this for your kids and create an amazing life for yourself and for your family. Okay? So if you want, go to buymehours.com/book now, book the session with me today. We're going to get to the root cause of what's stopping you from living in your natural masculine confidence. And we're gonna craft a step-by-step game plan on how to move from that place to your natural masculine confidence. I'll show this to you for free. The reason why I'm doing this is that if you like my solution, we will talk about whether you want to take my services and whether you want to go deep and whether you want to work on this in an intensive program. Okay? So if you want to do this and explore this, go to buymehours.com/book now and book the session with me right now. So thank you for showing up, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.